Welcome to the Heron Heads podcast. My name is Julio, and I'm joined today by a friend and fellow Inter Miami fan, Dave. And on behalf of the guys, including Chris and Jose, we want to thank you for joining us and stopping by for episode 76 on the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami. For those of you watching live on YouTube, thank you so much for stopping by, and be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons if you're enjoying the show. Huge shout out to our chief Heron Heads, Matias, Chow, Abu Ada, and Mari V. And then if you'd like to support us on Patreon, you'll find a link in the description wherever you are listening. You'll also find a link to our Discord server, merch store, and maybe some other stuff. So check it out if you're interested. If not, totally okay. Thank you so much for still being here. And for those of you guys that came out to Unbranded Brewing to join us at the watch party, thank you all for coming out. I think we had like 50, 60 people out there. So super fun. Watched a pretty interesting game. Inter Miami came out on top 3-2 over CF Montreal. Went down early as per usual, but pulled out victorious nonetheless. So let's get right into it, Dave. And I just saw you, so I kind of think I know how you felt, but how do you feel to the audience?
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to thank Unbranded Brewing for hosting us. That was fun. It's always fun to get together with a group of like-minded fans to just enjoy that type of atmosphere. So it was good to just not be at home watching these types of games by myself and then sharing it with you guys. But yeah, fantastic to be with a bunch of IMCF fans, Messi fans, and yeah, the game itself. Yeah, we're getting used to falling behind to start these matches, but this one, it felt different and it hurt different because we fell 2-0. And that's you never want to see yourself go down 1, but being down 2 against this team is something that you really don't want to see. We were predicting a blowout, 6-0, all this stuff, which is a little bit outlandish for these types of games, and it's a away game, fine. But to find yourself to start off in a 2-0 hole with the quality of players that we have compared to Montreal, especially Montreal that doesn't have their top 2 scorers available to them, you don't want to see that. That's not something that you want to see. Also, it stinks to have Messi didn't seem like he was ultra involved in this one. He had a couple free kick opportunities that he didn't get his usual class in on those, and then he did get fouled pretty hard at one point in the game, and after that, you'd be hard pressed to notice him on the pitch. He was walking. I know he always walks, but he was walking so much slower or just not moving at all that it is a little worrisome. You got to see what that is moving forward, but you can never argue against a result that ends in 3 points for your team. Rojas, we asked to see more of Rojas, and I'm glad that Rojas was placed in the starting lineup. He is time and time again a spark plug for this team, an actual dangerous player with the ball at the end of his foot, whether it's an attack or passing. Rojas has just been phenomenal for this club. Great signing. I even turned to Julio at one point. I'm like, whoever's in charge of scouting international players, A+ addition with Rojas. There was a lot of negative press on him when we were doing our research, and we haven't seen any of that. He's been great passing, very aggressive with his shots, and that free kick. I think Jose turned to me and he's like, I think that free kick doesn't rival anything that we've seen from Messi in this club, which is a tall order to say, but
it does rival.
Yeah. It's just thank God we brought Rojas on. And my one negative, other than the start, I mean, there's a couple of negatives, but the one that is glaring for me is Gressel's moving. He's regressing. That's unfortunate for us. At the beginning of the year, Gressel was you could tell he's just a little bit off, and we're like, oh, once he starts gelling, he'll be better in attack. But at least his passes were nice. He was decent defending. Now he's becoming his shortcomings are way longer than his positives out there. He's slow in transition. He doesn't bring anything in attack. Messi. Well, I think it was Messi that found him for a great opportunity, and his just first touch tanked the possibility of doing anything with it. So it's just we're seeing a lot of the same issues with him, and he's not even getting those nice crosses that he was getting in earlier to Suarez. So I'm sorry, I'm going on in front of a rant. I feel like not having Chris and Jose to cut me off here is just I'm just spewing my perspective here. But what do you think? I know one person that you're not thrilled about.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we'll get to that.
I'll let you deal.
We'll get to that. No, but I think you bring up some good points. I'll just address some of the things that you brought up. Messi did take a pretty big knock. Like he picked up like a good hard foul towards the end of the first half, which is actually why Matias Rojas took the free kick. So Messi got taken down. He stayed down for whatever the period of time it is that the MLS now designates as you need to come off for 2 minutes. So Messi goes off the pitch for 2 minutes to recover from being injured or whatever MLS designates it as. So that's when Matias Rojas takes the free kick to score what was an incredible free kick goal from further out than I would have thought would have been dangerous to take a strike. Yeah, Gressel is definitely regressoling, if I may. It's so weird. It's so weird. Like it's almost like he just doesn't get it. And this sort of lends itself to the conversation that I want to have about like Drake Callender. I don't know if being non-Hispanic is affecting these sorts of players. You wouldn't think so. But like Gressel, he doesn't know where to be. He doesn't know where to find his teammates. And to me, that's weird because he's been in this league for a long time. He has had success in this league as an important element to these successes. And to me, it's just really weird that he hasn't found his stride at this time when he's played literally every single match for us since joining. To me, that's bizarre. And the lineup comes out today, and we see Rojas and Kremaschi enter the starting lineup, which was really great to see. Like, we were all pretty excited about it. Those are two players that we're very high on, but the players that were replaced were not Gressel. So that was where we were like, why? The question mark is, why is Gressel still playing? Why is maybe David Ruiz not getting a chance? Why is Sunderland hurt? He just like fell off the face of the earth.
I think he's out of favor. I think he had a chance to show something when he did, and I don't think he wowed anybody. He must not be doing anything in training that's blowing anybody away. So I think Tata has been quick to pivot on some of these players. Like we're seeing,
not Gressel.
Well, I think Gressel. I mean, Gressel. That's a signing that is probably outside of Tata's.
I think it was. I think the opposite. I think it's a signing that was Tata's, and he's trying as hard as he can to make it work. Because if I'm not mistaken, Gressel was with Tata in Atlanta.
Yeah,
and I don't know, man. He's holding on to him just a little too tightly because
he's the new Joseph Martinez.
It's so bad. Like it's so obvious. So I'll just like go through sort of the game flow. So of course Montreal comes out, and their first goal was a result of a Christoph getting a little too adventurous and then being in an awful position for a man of his athleticism or lack thereof. So Christoph is up in the attacking third, trying to interplay with Chelo, passes to Chelo, and Chelo's kind of under duress. Chelo tries to play it out wide to Gressel. Gressel is like just standing on the byline, just like hanging out. Defender from Montreal cuts it off, plays it. They're able to play out pretty quickly. All of a sudden, it's a fast break along the left side. And, of course, Bryce Duke, former Inter Miami player, gets in behind and scores a goal through the wickets of Drake Callender. And it's a 1-0 start for Montreal. And we kind of looked at each other, and I was like, classic. Like, just the most classic, prototypical thing that we've come to expect from Inter Miami, unfortunately, is conceding the relatively early goal, going down, and then having to chase the game. And like you said, what stunk about this time is that we didn't immediately come back and punch them back, because shortly thereafter, I'm trying to remember now who it was that sort of allowed the break, but essentially they were able to play it behind our defense really easily again down the left-hand side. and it came back into the middle, and it's a French Canadian name or a French name, and I don't know how to pronounce it, but he found himself back in the box and scored a curler around Drake. It was a really well taken shot. I feel like now we have to say Drake should have done better, but it was a very good shot, well taken shot, and it's 2-0. And that's where it starts getting like worrisome. We're like, okay, this is an away fixture. This team drew with us or held us to not winning last time, and now we're in a really bad position. Like 2-0 down away from home is a very bad position, obviously.
Didn't they beat us? I thought we lost to them 3-2.
Did they? Maybe. I think you're right. Yeah, Alba was sort of trying to claw us back, and yeah, disaster. And because now at 2-0, really if they score a third, a win is sort of out of the picture. Not necessarily because we have Messi, but it's tough. And then it's 2-0. And then Messi gets hurt or takes that knock. And then, we have a free kick, and it's like, okay, Messi's not in. And I even suggested, I was like, oh, does Gressel take it? So then Rojas steps over it, and he just absolutely delivered. Just an incredible ball. Like, I've watched the highlights a couple times. I was walking the dog just now, and I was just watching the highlights. And, man, I kept watching that free kick, and he positioned it so well. Like, it curled so sweetly that the keeper still, like, got over horizontally far enough, but the ball was so perfectly in the upper 90 that it was really just unstoppable. And he hit it with a good amount of pace to get there because, like I said, he was pretty far out. Like, I didn't necessarily expect him to really even attempt on goal.
Yeah, I didn't expect that from that free kick. I did.
And it was so good.
That. It was fantastic. I jumped out of my seat. And you can see the goalkeeper was kind of like, he kind of looked back thinking, oh, maybe it went out. Like, he hit it perfect.
And it felt so against the run of play. I was trying, so after Montreal scored the second goal, I was really trying to figure out like what they were doing defensively, because it felt like we really couldn't even get the ball into our half, much less the attacking third, but we really couldn't get the ball deep into their territory. And I think they were just really, they were just sticking to our players. Like, they were really they were shadowing everybody.
It was shades of previous games last season when we had all that possession, but nothing was really coming from it. That's what it felt like. Just passing the ball in the midfield, passing it back, and then the ball ending up back at keeper, and then that's the end of the possession. It's just it's toothless.
And you can see it.
You toothless when you have this squad.
Totally agree. And you could see that Messi had assessed that, and this is why I think I'm correct in this assessment of how they were defending us, because what Messi kept trying to do was play balls over the top. Like, he was trying to do those quick, like, turn long ball over the top to try to find someone running in behind. And it kept sort of failing because the people that were attacking, the Rojas and Suarez, like, they weren't sort of reacting quick enough to get on the end of them. So oftentimes Messi would do that, and it just would go to their keeper. But yeah, to your point, a lot of times we would just play it back. And this is where we can sort of talk about Drake Callender. Man, he is like, I don't know if I haven't paid so much or so close attention to it, but if the ball gets played back to Drake Callender, like in open play, it is a turnover more often than it's not. And he, like, even when just playing it long, he just puts it nowhere near any of our players. And like, few and far between were the times where I was basically chanting turnover as Drake Callender was hoofing it, that I was wrong. And to me, that is a huge problem, because better teams that press us more effectively will take advantage. And luckily, Montreal didn't take advantage, but it did lead to a lot of dangerous opportunities for them. And it is getting worrisome that we're seeing it. It feels like we're seeing it more frequently, or maybe I'm just focusing on it more, but it is very bad. And even just the passing, like ground passes, he put one of our defenders in a really bad position in one of the plays where it was sort of like a scramble drill after he passed it to someone. But it is getting really bad, and maybe it's always been bad, but maybe I just haven't paid attention to it so closely. As a shot stopper, he's still good. He made a couple nice saves. Maybe he could have done better with the second goal. The first goal went straight through his legs. I gotta say he's got to do better with that one. He's got to drop like a knee, but the actual like ball skills that he possesses are so bad, and to me, it is a big area of concern. And when a name that comes out like Keylor Navas coming out as like gonna be a free agent, I'm saying, hey, can we somehow make that work? Because it is when you have as leaky a defense as us, you need to have a goalkeeper that can do something with the ball at his feet.
Yeah, that's I noticed that. I think we both noticed the Keylor Navas news from Fabrizio at the same time, and we're both of us, the light bulb just went off, and we're like, that's a nice name, because sometimes you get names thrown out that don't really make sense, and if you're gonna swing at a keeper, have an experienced keeper like Keylor Navas, who's played plenty of Champions League matches and big matches in his career. And then, yeah, I mean, when it comes to having the discussion of signing a goalkeeper, the first thing everybody's going to yell out is, what about defense? Like, you should have better defense. Well, obviously this club is trying to find better defenders. It's you got to say without a doubt they're looking at better defenders. But just because you are looking for better defenders doesn't mean you don't upgrade where you can upgrade. So if it makes sense and they can get a player like Navas, you don't not make that move because you have a hole at center back. You try to do both. You try to fill it. And let's say you can't upgrade at center back, why not also upgrade at goalkeeper if you can? Because if you don't upgrade at center back and you don't upgrade at goalkeeper, you're not better off. So you might as well have a better keeper who maybe can make some passes that aren't going to be turnovers constantly and doesn't make dumb decisions, and maybe he's not as athletic as a Drake Callender, but he has enough games played that he knows positioning and he can maybe improve the defense, especially when it comes to set pieces and things like that. And the communication is not going to be an issue either with the Keylor Navas. So, I mean, that communication thing it sounds so dumb and rudimentary, but the fact that we're having this conversation means that maybe a change is needed. And you hate it because you do like to have that homegrown talent, that player that every time he makes the squad for the U.S. national team, we're proud. That's an Inter Miami player. But at some point, you want to have the best group out there, and you don't want to continue seeing stupid goals being allowed that are third-rate goals that shouldn't be happening in a top-rate club. I understand MLS is not top flight like Premier League or La Liga or anything like that, and goalkeepers make mistakes all over the place, but we're seeing the consistent mistake that is not acceptable. We shouldn't accept that type of play. We should expect more when we have a club that has Messi and all these Barcelona players and all these Argentinian players that are up and coming, and Paraguayan players now too. We should expect consistency. We shouldn't expect these consistent mistakes. So that's my reason for wanting more at keeper. And I've never been one to crap all over Drake Callender, but I mean, how many games in a row has it been that we've allowed dumb goals, and it's his fault some of the time? So I don't know. I think I'm already at that point now where I'm okay moving on from him if it makes sense, not just to make a move to make a move.
Yeah, I agree, and I think I'm still more on the sentiment of the defender is still more important than the keeper in as far as our personnel goes. And like you said, it is hard to like be critical of Drake because in this very competition right here, this trophy that we lifted, other than Messi, he was the MVP. And like you said, like rooting for him is so great because you see like, wow, he's got like all this raw talent of the goalkeeper, but when it comes to the ball skills, it's just not there for him. So it's tough. It's tough. And so Mike brings up a point of how about don't play out of the back like that? And while yes, the other option is just a defender hoofing it up because they are also bad at playing with the ball at their feet. So I don't think there's like an effective solution there because we're trying to play possession ball. But I just don't know like it's just a personnel issue is really what it boils down to. Like there's not a solution based on the players that we have. So I don't know. There's a lot of negativity coming out of this match, even though we won, but I think it's like it's simmering. It's not quite boiling point yet. It's simmering that like we keep going down early. Like it's gonna bite us in the butt. And again, we pulled the rabbit out of the hat. I think it's the 5th or 6th game in a row that we've gone down and come back to win. And it's just not somewhere you want to be. It's not a good recipe for success. We said it after last match, and yet we found ourselves again in the same position. So going back to like sort of the match timeline. So Rojas scores the really nice, incredible free kick. And shortly thereafter, still in the first half, stoppage time, we earn a corner. Messi's back in at this point, but I don't believe he took the corner. I still can't find who actually took the corner that ended up in the goal. But Bryce Duke, who actually scored the first goal, is the one that headed it backwards. And Luis Suarez behind Ariel Lassiter, another former Inter Miami player. Suarez puts his boot up, gets there just before Lassiter, and taps it into the goal. And all of a sudden, we were really stewing at this watch party, guys. For like the first 46 minutes of this game, we were really just like, oh, this is so embarrassing. Like we invited all these people and now we're losing to CF Montreal, who we all said in the preview we're going to beat like 6-0. And all of a sudden we go into halftime and it's 2-2. And also, side note, Luis Suarez is now leading the race for the Golden Boot. I wonder if it's not necessarily an assist for anyone because it was headed backwards by Bryce Duke. That's besides the point. Suarez scores the goal and it's 2-2. And now I'm like, all right, game on. Like, it's 0-0 for all intents and purposes. And now second half we can move forward. And we still didn't really see like a dominant performance in the second half. And really the third goal and the final goal of the game, Rojas pulls another really nice play out of his hat. Messi gets the hockey assist in this play, and he does a simple little pass to Rojas, but it's simple and yet so effective to find someone in space that has the ability to make a play like he did to Kremaschi. So Rojas finds himself in a little bit of space around the center line and plays a beautiful lobbed pass over the top to Kremaschi, who's running in behind. Coincidentally, against Lassiter. And they were holding Montreal. Montreal was holding such a high line in that spot, and Kremaschi is able to, he had to wait for it a little bit, which is why I think Lassiter caught up, but he's able to just get a toe to it and just so satisfyingly rolled towards the mouth of the goal. And then Lassiter just falls over himself, can't get to it, ball rolls in, and it's the go-ahead goal that ends up being the game winner for Kremaschi, who, I'll be honest, outside of that, didn't do a whole lot, but I am so happy that he's the one that scored a goal because we were delighted that he started the match. He had some really bad giveaways, but he was at the right place in the right time, made a very good run, and Rojas found him, and Rojas just had his footprints all over this game, and it was great.
It was fantastic to see. Rojas's pass to Kremaschi was just, it was unreal. Wasn't it like a Trivela like outside the foot pass?
I've watched the replay a couple times on this as well. I think he quickly kicks it with his left so it curves like appropriately. Mm-hmm. In real time, I thought he Trivella'd it, and I was like, holy crap.
When I saw it, I was like, what? And then props to Kremaschi, who did his best Luis Suarez impression of just muscling up the defender, because he had to body that guy through and through, and then force just to poke it through both the defender and the goalkeeper. And then it was just like that, waiting on pins and needles to see if anybody was going to actually get to that ball before it crossed the line. And whew, what a relief. But yeah, I mean, these are the type of players that you love rooting for. Kremaschi, a true homegrown player. That's somebody that you love to get behind. And it's why it hurts that Drake's fallen off. When you feel like the club has found a player and that they've nurtured them and they're actually producing for you, Kremaschi, every time he's on the pitch, he shows something. Whether it's him working with Messi, just seemed to be in the same mind, and now him working with Rojas and just embodying the same play style of Suarez, like he is really taking advantage of playing with these players and absorbing as much as he can. He's a little sponge, and you just love to see that. So my hat's off to Kremaschi. I'm sorry that I understand that he didn't play a full match of class ball, but when the moments matter, that's when you want your players to step up, and he has found himself stepping up time and time again. So I'm very happy with Kremaschi's results today. And yeah, that's the other thing. We were expecting Gressel to get called off, and they make their first rounds of substitutions, and Gressel
survives somehow.
Kremaschi off.
The cucaracha.
Rojas off, Kremaschi off, and Gressel was still on. I'm like, I don't understand.
Hold on.
I even looked at Julio at one point. I was like, no subs. It was like the 70th minute, and there was no subs.
How do we say cockroach in German?
Say cockroach in German?
Yeah. That's gonna be his new nickname for me, because he somehow survives everything. All right. Well, here we go. Let's see.
Googling it now.
Yeah.
Oh my.
This is important stuff, guys.
Yeah,
follow for more great content.
Show
at the Heron Heads. There's German cockroaches, I'm pretty sure. Jose, don't you know about this if you're still in the chat? Cockroach in German.
What?
Kakerlake.
Oh, yes, of course.
I don't know if I pronounced that right, but checks out.
Yeah, so now you have to call Gressel that every time. If not, this is all for naught.
Yeah, Kakerlake. Kakerlake!
Can Rochin bite him, apparently, is another.
Yeah.
Cocker Gressel. I don't.
Gressel.
Yeah.
Cack.
I'm just gonna call him Gressel. I think it's easier.
All right. Let's move on from Gressel. But so Kremaschi scores the goal, and last 15 minutes of that match, we were tight. We were begging and pleading for a goal to come out of somewhere, because it really felt like Montreal was going to score and tie the game. And we just really didn't seem creative today in our attack. And I really felt that this match was an opportunity to kind of open it up and really see like the full potency of our attack that we saw against the last four opponents. Like, we can destroy a team and shred them. I mean, Red Bulls, we eviscerated them. So I was very surprised by a seeming lack of creativity today by the offense, and it felt like Montreal gave us fits, and I couldn't really figure out why. The formation was a little bit different. It was a 4-4-2 rather than a 4-3-3, and I don't know if the numbers in the midfield just changed and made it a little bit different. If Suarez has had trouble playing as a second striker, and Messi is like a quasi striker when they play in that role, but I don't know what it was. But Montreal really gave us like fits in defense, and that was like the last thing that I expected.
It was just a lot of it didn't make sense, and like I said, Messi way up in attack felt like he was out of the match and certain point. Like there was times that he wasn't even on screen. I'm like, man, where is Messi? And then we were talking about it. He just appeared at the very edge of the screen. Like, oh, there he is. And then half the time that people were passing it to him, he wasn't going to touch the ball because he was offside. And he seemed out of it after that hard tackle. I think that hopefully he's okay. I think they have a quick turnaround.
They do.
They're playing midweek against Orlando. So that's something to watch. Rojas's emergence is good. Again, you can never replace Messi, but it's good to see that we have a player that you can rely on to actually put balls on goal. So that's good to watch. And yeah, I mean, it's a win, but I think the sentiment is pretty widespread that you don't feel ultra confident with this win. This is a game, like you said, we're expected to really expand that goal differential. And just to win by one is not, and come from behind fashion is not what you want to see. And then one more thing I want to say is I think this is the last time I'm gonna really declare that we're gonna have such a large margin of victory on the road. I think that this club doesn't play the same brand of football when they're home and away. The away games naturally are more difficult, and to expect to just beat the brakes on somebody like that on the road, especially in Montreal, that's not a quick flight from Miami.
Yeah.
So that's a hike. So that was a little ambitious, I think, on our end to expect this type of result from Inter Miami. We always expect to win. That's never going to change. But going all the way to Canada, that should not be just like a footnote in the game. That's something that we should have probably highlighted a little bit more.
Yeah.
But we'll take the 3 points.
Yeah, totally. So I do want to talk quickly about this comment by Shoes. So he says, considering how this game went, can we say that we won without Messi? And I wouldn't go as far to say that we won in spite of Messi not really doing anything, but I think it's an important first step in the team developing confidence so that when Messi isn't there, they know that they have the tools to be able to do stuff. But Messi changes the dynamic of everything because of the attention that he draws. And like we sort of outlined in the match recap, he was the hockey assist on the Rojas goal. And you can't undermine what Messi does, even if he's not directly involved in goal contributions. It's a good starting point for a team to develop confidence when Messi isn't scoring a goal and assisting 5. So I would not go as far as to say that we can say that we won this without Messi, but we were able to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, find a way, and although Messi wasn't directly involved via a goal or an assist, it's very good for these players, for Rojas, for Kremaschi, for our defense, for Chelo, for these players that don't know how to win without Messi, really, to see and experience success when Messi's not the one that's scoring, a brace or, those types of things. But I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, and even let's say in a world that Messi plays the whole match and doesn't touch the ball at all, he still affects the game. People are paying so much attention to Messi that just his gravitational pull opens things naturally for other players. So even if Messi didn't touch the ball, which of course he did, you can't say that they won without Messi. If he's on the field, absolutely, he's got eyeballs on him. He's being marked. At one point he was one-on-one with a defender, and I looked at Julio and I said, man, putting myself in that defender's shoes, I'd be crapping myself. Like, oh my God, here we go. He's about to end my life right now in front of all these people. And yeah, Messi, he's still a beast. So absolutely. And like Julio said, even in games where he doesn't get on the stat sheet, it's a bummer that his streak of having goal contributions is over. But he's getting his other players involved and getting his other players seeing hit the back of the net. These are things that you want, and Messi is first and foremost about winning. So I think having his teammates taking those steps to becoming better players is fantastic. And yeah, we're gonna have to play without Messi when he's off to Copa America. So it is good to see other players step up. Do you know if Rojas is going to leave us for Copa America? That's something that I was thinking.
I have no idea. I don't think all the teams have announced their official squads. I think they have like preliminary, like people that we want to potentially call up lists out. But I don't know specifically if Rojas has been named to the Paraguayan national team. But
my worry is, like, remember how the last
I don't know what this team's going to look like.
Remember the last round of international play? Anybody on our team was fair game for their countries. Christoph was getting called.
Yep.
Robert Taylor or David Ruiz. Anybody who was within earshot of Messi on this club was being looked at to just see if they can glean anything from their exposure to Messi. So now nobody was talking about Rojas being any kind of spectacular player for Paraguay. But now seeing him have personal success with Messi, I would not be surprised if he ends up, especially now with
I agree.
Diego Gomez getting hurt.
Correct.
It's more likely that he gets called up because now they're going to have a spot to fill.
Correct. Yeah, I know. Like even Suarez was put on the short list for Uruguay. I don't know what this team is going to look like, because then you think, okay, well, then behind Suarez, Campana, does Campana get called up for Ecuador? Like there's so many players that you don't know if they're going to stay here during Copa America. Like I don't necessarily think outside of Messi, any of our Argentine players are going to be called up, because Argentina is such a deep, like they have so many players to choose from that are, in Europe and have all these accolades. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. That's a whole other rabbit hole discussion. I do wonder how lightly Messi was taking it and carrying himself today after the tackle that he took, because we have a midweek fixture in Orlando. I also wonder what the travel is going to be like. If they're going to travel just directly from Montreal to Orlando would be my best guess, given that the match, is on Wednesday. It's a short flight from Miami to Orlando, so maybe they opt to do that. But it'll be interesting to see how they handle it. I do question sort of early on here, but I do question if maybe Messi doesn't play against Orlando, which would be interesting. Obviously, we want to maximize the minutes that we get with Messi before Copa America, but would be interesting to see if there's some Tata tinkering that could go on here. But I do feel like Messi was probably taking it easy. He understands his body really well. We've seen this multiple times before. Hopefully, it's not the same sort of timeline here, because we've seen Messi take it easy and then all of a sudden he takes 3 weeks off to recover. So we hope it's nothing serious. He played the entire rest of the match. I'm a little surprised he didn't get substituted off, but who are you going to bring on? Not a ton of options to really replace. I mean, no one can replace him, but just the game flow, like not too many options to replace him well. We'll see, I guess, is all I can end that with. But yeah, so Inter Miami wins again in comeback fashion. I don't know really what else there is to say about this match. Our defense needs to play better. Our goalie needs to play better. And
Gressel needs to wake up.
And Gressel, the I already forgot how to Kakanaka.
The croqueta.
That's right. Our German cockroach needs to figure it out, man. My patience is wearing very thin with him. Same with Drake. Like my patience is just running out. And to me, it's just, like Parker just said in the chat, he's a bad fit. And I think that may be, it's simple to say that, but it's also like dead on. Like he may just be a bad fit for this team. Will Messi give all the piques to Rojas from now on? I don't think so. Messi took the free kick that he earned late on in the match, and it was a nice range for Messi, but he took it and Rojas did not. So I don't think so. But with that said, I don't know if we will get a preview episode out ahead of Orlando. We might try to squeeze in like a bonus episode maybe on Monday. Because it is Orlando and they're our in-state rival, although if recent history serves as any indicator, this may not be too much of a match, but we will maybe squeeze in a preview episode for Orlando. If not, we will be live post-match on Wednesday, so be sure to tune in then. If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We appreciate everyone being here. Follow us at the Heron Heads on X, Instagram, TikTok. I don't know what else.
Join our Discord.
Join our Discord. If you guys want to talk Messi, Inter Miami, all that stuff, Discord link is in the description. Check it out. Chris, Jose, we miss you. And we will catch up with everyone else. Maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. But until then,
for sure Wednesday.
Yeah.
What do you mean maybe Wednesday?
I just meant like the next time will be one of
Maybe
those
never.
days.
Maybe this is the last episode. Who
This
knows?
is true. Who knows? Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to my wife. Happy Mother's Day to
My
all
wife.
of the Heron Heads wives, all the Heron Head wives. Any mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. Yeah, I'm just sort of rambling on here. So
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning into the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for Inter Miami, and we will catch you on the next one. Have a good night, guys.
See you guys.